Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Chicken Boxx. I'm your host, Jay. Solo this week, although Dr. Draper will be here momentarily. Look, this week I want to introduce Alayna Blash, who is the owner and CEO of NecessityJournals.com. She is the wife and busy mom of three, often struggling with missing deadlines due to being overwhelmed with mundane tasks. She began journaling to keep herself organized amongst the chaos, which also allowed her to write down her thoughts, feelings, thus giving her a newfound sense of freedom. Alayna would like to share her stories in hopes to help others overcome their struggles by writing their thoughts and feelings on paper. So I'm going to bring Alayna forward on this week's episode of the Chicken Boxx.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I think I need to get some information on journaling, to be honest, over the last couple of days. So just so everyone knows who doesn't, the Chicken Boxx is a part of the Afro, which is the second oldest Black family-owned business in the U.S., 132 years, which is pretty impressive. So, Alayna, talk to folks about journaling, because I think a lot of people are going to realize just how much they truly need it right now.
Yeah. So first, let's just acknowledge that a lot has been going on, and we need a safe space, a structured space, in order to release all that we're feeling and what's been happening in and around us for the last 100 days, so to speak. So journaling is one of the ways that helps us to release, gives you that space to just write out and get your thoughts out and, help you feel better in the end.
Yeah. Now, so this idea of, I'm sure people understand the idea of like writing in journals or writing in diaries. And, kids have been doing that since, they tried to hide it from their parents, right? Like it's been since forever, right? But what is it about journaling that sort of pulled you into this, and how did it help you personally?
Yeah, so I was that girl, right? I was that girl in 6th grade writing about my first crush and hiding, my book with my lock and key under my bed from my brothers. I was that girl. And so fast forward to about 20 years ago, I went through a rough patch in life, a really rough patch. Right out of medical school, got married, got divorced, had kids. And everything in life seemed like it was just crumbling before me. And so I went to the thing that I knew, the thing that I knew that I could rely on my faith. And I knew that writing and getting everything that was in me out in a safe way would feel good in the moment. And I did not realize the transformative power of it until later. So that's what I knew. I trusted that thing, my safe space. There were words that I might not have wanted to tell my mom, or things I might not have wanted to tell my friends, how I was really feeling, but I needed a way to release. And so journaling has allowed me that safe space. And it's really blessed my life.
That's wonderful. When you tell other people about this business, and we'll get into the services that you offer, when you tell them about it, what's the normal reaction? Like, I could do that. I don't really need anybody to tell me how to do it. Or are people sort of open to, are they missing something, or,
Yeah. So there's a mixed feeling, right? I find that people that are really busy, say, oh, I don't have time for that. Right. Like, you need to make time for that. It's part of my self-care routine. It's the thing that grounds me. When I don't do it, I feel kind of off a little bit. So as I'm sharing it, busy people may not feel like they can put it in their schedule. Young folks, I try to have to make them think through what are their goals and their plans. And sometimes that helps them to launch into journaling, thinking about what they want for their future. My brothers, I got to get y'all more into it.
I can see that being a problem.
Yes. My husband is a believer now.
Okay.
Now. He supports my journaling habit. It's my habit. I've always tell people, if you look behind my screen here, you will see a wall of written in notebooks. Really? I used to write on the back of envelopes, grocery store receipts. Anytime I needed to feel like I needed to express, I was writing. So my husband's now a believer in it. But, I just encourage people to find that safe space. You may not always have the appropriate words to tell someone in person. You may feel like you have to censor what you're saying to get your point across. But journaling and writing, it just lets you be free to be who you really, really are. And there's beauty in that.
Yeah. It is one of the the only places, like the sort of the last bastion of your own personal honesty is inside your head, right?
Right. It's the core of who you are.
Right. So nobody can hear that. So to then put it down on paper, is there a sense of, while doing that, because you're taking it out of your head and you're putting it into this on this paper, and there is a level of vulnerability, right? Like the idea of somebody seeing it or something like that. How do you deal with sort of not betraying your own thoughts, right? Like kind of doing self-censoring. Like how does that?
Yeah. Self-censoring is it's such a limiting belief, right? That's this belief that I can't be who I am. And if nowhere I can be who I am, I've got to be able to be it in my own thoughts and how I express it. I have to be able to do that freely, uninhibited. So my notebooks, people know me, I carry my little babies with me, my mini notebooks, big notebooks, I have them all with me all the time. Because if I need to write something down, even if it's just a grocery list and I need to get that clutter out of my head, I write. And I don't worry anymore about what people might see when they find them. If my children were to happen to stumble across some of my notes that I've written, I hope that they would recognize that I'm human and I'm flawed and I have authentic thoughts, that I feel. But this is how I manage how I feel. And so when I'm engaging with them, I'm emotionally available for them because I've let go maybe of some of that heaviness I might feel, or just the clutter that fills our mind every day. Don't forget to pick up the milk and eggs from the store, or, pick up the dry cleaning. Some of those thoughts have to come out too, in order to free me to be fully myself for everyone else.
Now, that's a great way of looking at it, right? You're sort of like data dumping all of this stuff out of your head and just kind of getting it down on paper. Do you ever go back and read what you've written like years ago? And like, how do you feel about yourself in those moments?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know, like, is there like a judgment? You're like, what was I thinking? Like, why did I, like, I can't believe I thought this. Or is it, do you find yourself like kind of being like, all right, that was old me, or, maybe I'll come a long way, or maybe not,
Sometimes I'm like, girl, what were you doing back then? Like, what were you thinking of, right? But, honestly, I don't go back purposely to read any of them. Like, if I'm done with the thought, I'm done with the thought. If I've managed what was happening, I've managed what was happening. Like to-do list, I have that. I'm a planner too, so journals and planning. So I have my planners that I got to check the boxes and get things done. But journals where I free write, I don't necessarily go dig those things up to look at them again. I was cleaning out a drawer not just so long ago, and I found 2 old notebooks. And I started flipping through it, and I was like, wow, right? 1, what was going on back then that you were so stressed? And 2, wow, you've come such a long way. It brought up feelings of gratitude. Glad that I'm still doing this thing called journaling, expressive writing. Glad that I stuck with what's true to me, because I've grown, and the personal development that I see in myself, the clarity that comes forth when I write, I recognize that, but I don't go back to those old things. We got to leave those things in the past and let them lie where they be.
Are you protective of your writings? Do you want to make sure that no one sees them, or are you okay if someone sees something that you wrote?
I'm an open book. I really am. I'm an open book, and I share. I don't openly share. I will say that I don't openly share them. My family knows where they are, right behind me on this shelf that I would show you if it wasn't a mess. But they know where they are, but they don't come to see if I've written something that's got to be published, or I write little diddlies of songs. Those things I might be more protective of, but my free writing, I'm not very protective of it at all. But I don't openly share it either.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think I would be. I think I would want if I were to start this, which these days I kind of think maybe I should.
You should start, Jay.
I should. All right, look, I'm. You're speaking to the choir at this point. I'm like, there's way too many things going on in my head. I do need to put it down. I guess I would be just so terrified, I think, of like people being able to see what my innermost thoughts are, right? Like this idea of the self-censoring, right? I think that's where so many people would be like, I'm gonna write only the good things. And I'm thinking, it's like, my wife is beautiful, everything is great, the kids are so well behaved, right? No. But it doesn't speak to what this really helps you with, right? Which is to get to the core of, what
Yeah.
you are feeling in those moments.
I distinctly remember a time where I was sick of doing laundry, Jay. Like you said in my
Okay, you're speaking to the choir. Please go
right.
on.
I'm sick of doing laundry. I had, 3 children, a husband. I was working. He was working. The kids were in every activity you could name, and the
Right.
laundry never stopped. And one day I was at a breaking point, and I was like, I am only going to wash the load of clothes that I can wash, fold, and put away today, and that's enough for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote that in my journal, that only do what I could handle today. It was not an indictment on my children or my husband or the messiness of my kitchen, but to carry the weight of trying to have every sock washed, every towel folded was just too heavy. And so my journal was a place that I could let that frustration out instead of lashing at my children for having dirty clothes and lashing at my husband for losing the remote to the TV. My journal gave me the space to express, I am sick of doing laundry today, right?
Yeah.
And I need some help around here. And then I was able to approach my husband and my children in a way that said, hey guys, we have to do something about this laundry. And the tenor of the conversation went over much better because I had my chance to get out my frustration. Now, if they read that 20 years from now and they find my notebook and they read it and they're like, oh, that's why mom was doing it that way, then so be it. But I have to have my space to express.
Yeah, that's a wonderful sentiment. Like I like that analogy too, because you do like things in life, laundry especially, just kind of piles up, and those things, if you don't deal with them, you're like, why am I in an argument with my spouse about like this stupid thing that doesn't mean anything, because you're just like, there's just too much laundry, right? And it's not really about that. It's about being overwhelmed.
Yes.
So I think the sort of the elephant in the room here is how people are dealing with some people are dealing with the last number of days of the presidential election and things like that. I know I certainly had a day where I did not really want to be, it was not good for anybody. It's just like, I don't really want to talk or anything like that. And I'm wondering, what are some methods that you could think of? I mean, obviously journaling, but what about journaling very specifically could you pull from that maybe you have personal experience with that you think may be able to help people? How to approach
I think no matter who your candidate was, win, lose, or draw in the election on Tuesday, we all have to find a civil way to move forward in our society, right? Mm-hmm. So if your candidate won, journaling can help you too, help you channel how you were going to now interact with people's candidate that did not win. And if your candidate didn't win, then you've got to find a way to channel that disappointment. And that's where journaling stepped in immediately for me. Was I had to write. I did not consume much of the media on that day because I knew, if it didn't go my way, that I was going to have this visceral reaction, and I didn't want to feel that way in the moment. I've come to grips with it, but I've had to write out how I felt. So I used journaling to help me think of what are the things that are in my power right now? What can I control in this moment, right? Acknowledge how I'm really feeling. And why am I feeling that way? If I'm feeling anger and resentment and disappointment, why am I feeling that way? What about this election and this process, or who won? What about that has me so angry and so upset? And write that out. Get it out on that sheet of paper. I've been in public. Obviously, we all been out to dinner and other places over these last few days, and I've seen people having these loud disagreements in public and arguing with one another. And I don't want to live that way. I want to be able to live civilly in my community and with my family. And so being able to express how I'm feeling, recognizing what I have control over. And I even wrote about what I'm looking forward to, right? What am I looking forward to right now? I'm looking forward to the holidays. I'm looking forward to, spending time with my family. I'm looking forward to some of the wins that did happen in this electoral process that we're not talking about. Right. So I'm looking forward to those things as well. And so journaling has helped me to channel that before I'm able to actually interact with others.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting, these ideas of sort of, I heard somebody speak about sometimes when you feel sort of overwhelmed or like in these type of moments and you kind of just feel drained, it's helpful to kind of walk and just kind of notice things like, it's a blue truck, that's a red fire hydrant, that sort of thing, and then kind of pulling yourself back into the moment, right? And I think journaling is sort of a more advanced version of that, right? Just really identifying where you are presently. So I can see why that would work so well for so many people. So I'm just I like the idea of trying to get these ideas out of our heads. I do think that there is a lack of these kind of activities from men. Certainly, I think we were like, we got to be stoic and just like don't say anything, and just, you know, our only emotions are like happiness and anger, which is not good, right? it is a poor way to live. But I think we have to, you know, deal with all of those emotions, right? The entire array of emotions. Yeah. I find journaling and sort of the social sciences really important in these sort of moments. So I appreciate you speaking to that just from your own experiences, right? And going forward, like, can you talk about what your company actually offers? Necessity journals. Is it just the journals themselves, or does it teach people how to do it and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we're a new business. So I've started with just the notebooks and other accessory items, but really Necessity was born out of my necessity and my need for writing. You know, I need this. And I was buying journals and notebooks everywhere, but wasn't really finding what I wanted, right? There's a certain nuance to the paper that I like and how the spiral works or the binding. So I wanted to create what I wanted. So that's where Necessity was born. So yes, we have product, but we also will be offering services to help people walk through this process. So we did a session last night on IG to talk about helping people with mindfulness in this moment of disappointment. How do you get through this moment? And so, yes, we would love to offer more of that. I am keenly interested in offering it to young adults and young men and women who are going through traumatic times in their lives. We have to find a way to have a structured outlet so that we can, live together in this society that we live in, right? We've got to find a way, and channeling our emotions, being mindful of who we are, acknowledging where we are, is important to help us build relationship with one another so we can live in community together.
Right. Can you speak to the idea of the mindfulness that you talked about on your IG thing that you did recently?
Yes. Yeah. So mindfulness is really just, it's the notion of being present in the moment, right? Being present in the moment. How am I showing up in this moment? So even being with you now here on this platform, I don't want to be thinking about, what's for dinner or what other work I might have to do. I want to be able to be fully present in this moment so I can be able to engage, emotionally available, have clarity, speak with confidence, and not be distracted by the other things that are cluttering my mind. So mindfulness, using tools like breathing and centering yourself to feel everything that you're feeling and allow yourself space and time to settle down, to slow down, and take in what's happening right now. So we did some breathing techniques last night, just deep breaths in, focusing on the good, holding that breath, and then exhaling all of the stuff that we're feeling and intentionally letting your body let go of it. What you will notice is that if you do mindfulness activities like that, you will start to feel like these small physiological changes in your body. You might feel the tension in your shoulders reach, like your shoulders might be up here and you're not even mindful that your shoulders are here. And you start breathing and your shoulders begin to fall and relax. The wrinkles in your head go away, right? You might naturally start to smile instead of frown. Your heart rate might slow. You start to feel all of that because we harness that stress. We harness all of that tension. But when we allow ourselves to be present in the moment, we're actually able to be present in the moment.
Yeah. Now, I do some level of meditation from time to time, and sort of mindfulness, if I can stop distracting myself with my phone for long enough.
That phone.
I know. This is like the bane of your entire premise. It's like, just put that thing in another room.
And which is why journaling is so important to me, because detaching from my electronics, are like just letting go for a little while, right? I've worked with people who wanted to do their journaling on an electronic device, and I'm like, no, I sure, but no, I want you to get paper and pen and or pencil, crayon, whatever it is, and just detach from the electronics for 30 minutes a day, and just allow yourself to sit with who you are.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Now, how long is 30 minutes about as long as you journal a day, or you're in advance? You're like 2-3 hours, whenever. Like just go.
No. So during the day, on a normal day, it's about 30 minutes. I try to do 15 to 20 minutes in the morning, and then the same at night. Now, obviously, I'm human, so I don't get to do it every morning and night, but I try my best. But like I said, I carry a notebook with me everywhere, so it might be 5 minutes at lunch that I'm writing a thought, right? So it's throughout my day. It's in everything that I do. And then I have a practice of what I call the Sunday evening reset that I do every week, and that takes me about an hour and a half.
Have you encouraged your children to do this as well?
I have. My daughter is a believer. Like I said, I've gotten my husband. My 2 boys, not so much, but
okay.
I'm working.
And how old is your daughter? Is she a teenager or?
She's 30. She actually has a birthday coming up. Happy birthday, baby. Okay. Yeah.
And so she's all in on this as well.
She's in. So she's starting to feel the similar pressures of being a mom, a working mom, a professional, and, getting that overwhelmed feeling. And so you go to what you know, stick to your faith and write, get it out of your head so that you can be present, for your children and your spouse.
That's wonderful. That really is. I have a hand-bound book that I have not written anything down. It was sort of my ideas book. So you know what? I'm going to use that.
Start with the ideas, Jay. Just start with what you got. That's one of the biggest questions people ask me is, what do I write? Right. I'm like, whatever's on your mind, right? So I write my fears, I write feelings, I write achievements. I'll write questions I might have about a topic, obviously my to-do list. I might just summarize what happened that day, right? I climbed a mountain or whatever. I just start with whatever's on your mind. The sky is blue, just write it. If you paid attention that the sky was blue today and the wind was blowing in a certain way, write that. Just let yourself express whatever is there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good way of just kind of being like, all right, just jump in. Right. There is you don't have to, let me figure out, is it going to be today about XYZ? Just kind of jump in. Dr. Draper, hello.
Hey, hi, Jay. How are you?
I'm well.
Hello. I'm sure I'm going to mess your name up, and you've probably been, is it Alayna or Lina or neither?
Alayna, yes. Alayna. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, Dr. Draper, just like we were talking, we're just jumping right in with journaling. So if you have any questions, go for it.
I think journaling is a great, I don't want to call it a habit, but a great thing for people to do if you can be consistent with it.
Yeah. So we were just speaking on the idea of where do you start, right? Because
anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like whether it's a to-do list or ideas or what's going on in the day.
I think different people journal different ways. So
but that's true, right? So I tend to journal free writing. I just do free expressive writing. There are journals that are scripted prompts, right? So you can buy a journal that has prompts and you go through the prompts every day based on whatever the theme of that journal might be. That's not been my thing. I haven't been able to stick with those. So I'm more of a free writer in my journal because I feel like it gives me the liberty to write whatever I need to write and work on whatever part of my life that I need to work on in that moment.
That makes sense. And some people have prayer journals. People have all kinds of journals. And as you said, the scripted ones I think for me, they're harder to do.
Yeah, you got to stick to the plan, right? So I have a lot of journals around here that might say 30 days to wellness or 30 days to a new you. And by day 3, I'm like, no, let me just go back to what I know, which is my free writing. Sometimes I'll add a scripture, or sometimes I'll, find a word of the day or just the thought of the day or just set my intention for the day. But I haven't been able to keep up with the planned like 30 days to you kind of journals.
Yeah, that's like Mad Libs for brain dumping, which I don't think I could do very well.
Yeah.
No, I think I need the freedom of just the structured chaos that is most people's day, I think.
Yeah.
We talked about Dr. Draper. We talked about sort of how we can use journaling with how people are feeling over the last couple of days because of the election, and what do you have any thoughts on that as far as journaling or other methods of sort of mindfulness? I know you're a bottomless well of information.
I don't know about all that, but
yeah, no. You always have a couple of like really good bits of advice. So I was wondering if you have anything in this regard.
I think it's healthy to release whatever's going on. Journaling is one way, not the only way. It is a way that works for a lot of people. What doesn't work as well is people either it being in denial about how they feel or having somebody try to explain it away and say, oh, it's just an election. You'll get over it. It'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just acknowledging, I talked to somebody this morning who said she couldn't even get out of bed yesterday. She said, I told her that's probably because she was tired on Tuesday night. No, I didn't tell her anything. I'm just teasing because it wasn't my place to do that. But if we could just honestly acknowledge that people have a right to own the feeling that they have. It might not be your feeling. And so that's what I've learned is that if you can acknowledge and put yourself in that person's place, we tend to, when people open up and share how they're feeling, we tend to try to talk them out of it. And tell them why they shouldn't feel the way they should, instead of saying, you know what, I hear you. That must be awful that you couldn't get out of bed today. And don't just dismiss it. So back to the question about journaling, I think journaling, while it may be one way or seem to be one way, it allows people a avenue to say how they're really feeling without judgment.
Yes.
And then you can go back and read what you've written and you can speak to your own self again. It's your journal. You go back
Alayna says she avoids it at all costs.
I tend not to go back. I tend not to go back and reread. If I happen to stumble across it, or I'll look at it again. But I try to write and process and move on. Those things that are like action items on that type of my journal, to-do list things. Yeah, of course, I have to revisit those.
Right.
Expressive writing, I tend to just write and move on.
Oh yeah, expressive writing. If I make a write prayer request, I'll go back and check them off. And it may be, I don't know, it may be months or years before God decided to. He's going to answer yes, no, or wait. So I'll go back and check it off and see.
I like that. Yes, no, or wait. That's going to go in my next journal. Yes, no, or wait.
Yes, yeah, that's a good title for a journal. Yes, because we always want the yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We really can't stand the no, and so some of us got a no on Tuesday, but it could be just a wait. It could be a not now.
Right.
If it's in that format. So I don't know how deep that was, Jay Jackson, but
no. See, look, somebody wrote in the comments, bottomless well of information.
But I do think it's I'll go ahead, Diane Hocker. It's acknowledging your own. Journaling helps you to acknowledge your own feelings, your own expression, and you're not writing for anybody.
Right. Exactly. So
I'm going to confess that one of the reasons I was a little late getting on here, I was actually writing.
Yay!
And what I've written may not just be for the journal. It may just be for it may be for publication. But I was writing. It's long, Jay Jackson. I don't know if we're going to print it, but I was writing how proud I was to be a Marylander in spite of everything that happened on Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that we're looking forward to, Jay, that we were talking about earlier.
Sort of silver lining.
Looking forward to,
silver lining. Because I have family and friends in places like Georgia and Texas, and so I said, you know what, I'm gonna count the positives for being in Maryland. Our first Black senator, we have a Black governor, we have a Black mayor, we have a Black Speaker of the House, we have, I came up through Baltimore City Public Schools, I got a great education, so thinking about the positives, because it's easy to lift up the negatives about something.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was doing. I was writing, and I got into the writing and didn't want to stop until I finished writing that. So,
no, that's a pretty good excuse considering this episode. It's like we give you a pass.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. So again, I think folks need to make sure they go to necessityjournals.com. You can get actual journals, which are quite nice. You can get some mugs because you got to have your coffee or your tea, depending on what you're going to do, right? You got some cozy gear. Yeah, I see you have statements about sweater weather and all this other stuff. These are, I think, sort of the staples for writing, especially in this moment. So look, necessityjournals.com. Alayna, we really appreciate you coming on and talking about journaling. I think it's incredibly important, not just anytime, but especially right now. And so thank you.
Thank you.
So we normally do a get on the box sort of thing. So I'll give it to Dr. Draper first.
Okay.
Since you haven't been here as much, so let you get more of that information out there. So your turn on the box, Dr. Draper.
So, Alayna, I love the title of your business, necessityjournals.com. So thank you for that. Thank you for being on the box on today and sharing a little bit that I heard. I missed the first part, but I think I got the gist of what you do and how you do it and how you help people. I love the fact that journaling does not have to follow a prescribed pattern, right? Depends on what works for the person. And so the free expression journaling probably is the most helpful and maybe the most challenging for people, because so often we're not used to putting our thoughts in writing in this highly charged social media meme, just a quick response kind of world that we live in, where we don't even know sometimes what the letters mean.
True.
We just write them. But in journaling, it doesn't matter as long as you know what you mean. You can write it any kind of way. Nobody's critiquing it. Nobody's spell checking it. You can just write it any kind of way that you want to write. And so journaling is a healthy outlet that a lot of people have discovered works for them. A lot of people have said, not a lot of other people have said, not sure, I don't want to do that. Maybe it's something that sisters do, but brothers don't do. But I know a lot of brothers that journal. I know a whole lot of brothers that do that as well. So thank you for being on today and for sharing that. I can't wait to go check out your website to see what else you offer there, necessityjournals.com. And I am off the box, Jay Jackson.
Okay. I'll go next, and then we'll go to Alayna last. So look, I think in times of sort of turmoil and times of stress, or just in times where the laundry is just too much, I think getting these kind of thoughts and pressures out of your head and down on paper in this case, or practicing ideas of mindfulness and sort of understanding where you are in those moments, I think are incredibly helpful. Alayna coming on and talking about journaling, I think, is an excellent tool sort of in your toolbox to kind of deal with life. So look, if you got to get it out of your head and that makes you able to take on the day that much better, I think it is. I highly recommend it. And I'm not kidding. I have this book literally sitting on my nightstand I have not done anything with. So I am going to start today. And I think you're a real inspiration for that. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to get off the box, and I'm going to let you get your statements out here now.
Wow, this is a hot box. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah. Go for it.
Thank you, Dr. Draper, for having me here today to talk about something that we can use in our communities to bless ourselves so we can be more available for the others around us. Having a safe and structured place that you can get your thoughts up and out allows you to be free and more clear to be able to engage throughout your day. It releases that stress. It releases the tension, the anxiety, all those to-do lists that are cluttering your mind. Journaling has allowed me to be free, to be my whole self. I wrote to myself a long time ago that I wanted to live free and full. And the only way that I could do that is by writing everything out. So this business, Necessity, was started out of my necessity, my need for writing to be clear and level-headed every day. So thank you for having me here this afternoon. I hope everybody does go check out the website. I do want to bless others through this business. I have some new products coming out, so I'm really excited for that. So y'all stay on the lookout for that. And just excited to be here with you all this afternoon.
Well, that's great. We want to thank everybody for tuning in too. We saw some who also weighed in. So thank you for those who are watching now or who will watch this broadcast later. We appreciate you and appreciate your comments. So this is the Chicken Boxx, powered by the 132-year-old Afro-American newspaper known as Afro News. Please go to afro.com. Sign up for a free, somebody say free, a free newsletter. But we also want to encourage you to take out a subscription because we can't live on free. None of us can. But we do have free newsletters. You can sign up on afro.com. And if our third co-host was on today, he would say, call a senior. He would say, don't text them, call them, let them know how important they are to you. So that's it, Jay.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.